Finding the mean by step deviation method. The class interval and the frequencies are given for us. The first thing that what you have to do is note it down the class interval and the frequency as the first and the second column. Then we write the x column, which is nothing but the mid value of the class. 0 plus 10 divided by 2, you will get 5. 10 plus 20 divided by 2, 15, and so on. After finding out the x column, our important job is to find the assumed mean. The one of the values of x is taken as assumed mean. Then let us write the u column. Opposite to the assumed mean value, we put 0. Then above we write minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. And below we write 1 and 2. Once we find out the u column, the last column we have to find out that fu column, which is nothing but the product of f and u. 14 into minus 3, you get minus 42. 8 into minus 2, minus 16, and so on. Similarly, 9 into 1, we get 9, and 8 into 2, we get 16. Once we fill these 5 columns, as I have been telling you, the important thing that you have to remember is, in the step deviation method, what are the columns that you will be having? The 5 columns, namely class interval, frequency, x, u, and fu. Once we fill up this fu column, collect all the negative terms and find their sum. For example, we get minus 73. Similarly, we get all the positive terms are added and we get 25. The difference between the sum of the negative terms and the sum of the positive terms will give you the sigma fu. Then go to the f column and find out the sum of all the frequencies. We write it as a sigma f, which is nothing but 75. Now our job is just substitute those values in the formula. X bar is equal to a plus sigma fu by sigma f into h. A, which is nothing but the 35, sigma fu, which is nothing but minus 48, and h is the size of the class, which is a 10, and the sigma f, which is a 75. We substitute those values. If you remember the number of columns and making these small calculations, our job is only to remember the formula and substitute those values in the formula. As I mentioned earlier, let us avoid taking LCM for these values. Always calculate the sigma fu by sigma f into h separately and add it with the assumed mean value. For example, minus 48 into 10 divided by 75. On simplifying, we get minus 6.4. Therefore, it is a 35 minus 6.4. You are getting 28.6.